strength and conditioning is what my profession is, and I started off in a sports science degree in Dublin, where I'm from, and 10 years in Leinster Rugby there, and I've been here for the last 7. You obviously have to have strong technical knowledge and technical skills of the area and of the science behind what you're doing, but the reality is day to day it's about having interpersonal skills and building relationships and trust with players. Sure you get an active hit, Reevesy? Harder hit, yeah. Hit and bounce. Great performance, lads. The primary thing would be the safety and welfare of the players. We cannot, expose people to the game without making sure that they're physically prepared to avoid injury and to take contact and all those bits. And then from a performance perspective, it's a driver of speed, agility, the contact area of the game, set piece parts of the game, that we know it can improve performance in those areas with the right program. So we are going to work on, we've got a good little block for acceleration here, and we're going to work on it over the next few weeks. Reviewing the first block, what we're good at is switching and getting our feet back underneath us. What we haven't been great at as a group of forwards is getting range between our thighs. So when I thought we're splitting the thighs, it's getting that 90-degree angle between them. So it's a split and a hit, split and a hit, split and a hit. Start off with some switching drills, and then we get into acceleration after that. But what I want to think about is range and splitting our thighs. If you get good range, you get good projection, you get good power into the floor.
Dan's massive for me. We spend hours and hours planning the 2 programs together, if you like, to become one program. So obviously S&C, especially in pre-season, is a massive focus point, but it needs to be an S&C program that relates to playing rugby. So we spend hours, as do all the coaches, with Dan, just debating how we're going to get better in certain positions of scrummaging, tackling, ball carrying, and then Dan goes away and puts together the program that makes all that come together. So it's a very, very linked up approach. We need to be very aligned, so it needs to be a bit of give and take on both sides, but it needs to be someone you trust. It needs to be someone who's very, very good at what they do and understands the game of rugby, but also it needs to be someone who gets on well with people, can push and pull and manage everybody as well. So, Dan has to put those people in some horrible spots that, is pretty tough and grueling, and therefore he's got to have the right energy, personality, and as I say, be very, very good at his job, which he is.
We have an integrated model here between rugby, medical, S&C and analysis. Everybody works together to achieve the same thing, particularly on the rugby side, because you've just seen from the session, it's a rugby session. We will just influence that in terms of intensity, volume, work rest periods and everything else to make sure it's the appropriate stimulus for the day that we are at in this week and in this period of pre-season. So we need those strong relationships with rugby coaches to be able to influence the physical side of that program. And on the medical side, then obviously we need to influence heavily what return to play looks like for our players to make sure that they are working back towards what they have to do day to day when they're fit. Yes, Harry, beautiful. That's what we want. Punch that knee. That's it, Fred. Good, Freddie Thomas. Excellent, Seb, that's the way. Good, lads. Very good. Much better, lads. Happy with that. Very good. You think of hitting back, hitting back, hitting back. You're the opposite to do it, lads. Your range is always good. It's your intensity hitting back is what you want to think of.
You're just intent.
Intent to hit that in and back.
Is it? Right, do the opposite the rest of this real quick.
Take your time. Take a minute here, Harry. Nice. Tip of the hat to you, Freddie Clark. Particularly this pre-season with the World Cup, it's a longer pre-season. So we very much have it in our heads that we're going to build a huge platform physically in this pre-season, and during the season it's about getting from game to game, recovering well between them, make sure we're at our best every weekend rather than chasing anything during the season. So yeah, doubly in a season like this, what we do in pre-season is going to be massively influential in how we go in the season.
Rugby's a hugely physical game, a lot of collisions involved, and sort of the stronger we can be in the gym and the stronger we can be on the field, it's going to lend itself to us being a better team. Dan's massive as his performance, it's not just gym, it's looking after all of us, not just in the gym but sort of also as people as well, which massively is helpful as, he's a sort of a person to talk to as well if you're struggling with anything or want any advice, and he's massive forward from that physical point of view. Everyone knows that the season's really long and it's tough. There's sort of three competitions I think it is now, You've got to make sure your body's ready to cope with it. You know, if you've had a poor pre-season, you may not feel that until sort of the back end of the season when the games are getting pretty brutal. So you just got to make sure you're robust for the season.
Good, Dykesy, that's lovely. Good, George. Yes, chappers. Nice, Ollie. Good, Hurley. Punch that knee, punch that knee. Excellent. Very good, Clem. Very good. What we do has to be relevant to not just the game itself, but our game, what way we want to play, what we want our forwards to do, what we want our backs to do. And then within that, you've got a lot of individual variation of players can handle different training loads. Players are coming from different situations. We've obviously got quite a number of players coming back from long-term injury in this pre-season. They have a different plan to a player who completed the full program last year. So yeah, there's game-related things, team-related things, unit-related things, and individual factors. So you've got to consider all those things in the planning.